This video discusses more celebrities and other murderers put to death very recently, other celebrity murderers exposed, and new ways being used to execute some murderers. Hello friends, this is Unmasked Truth with Harmanjit Saini, where I provide unique analysis of world events based on the unmasked truth that after surrender, Germany continued World War II clandestinely and became a killing machine. I also provide true news that you will find nowhere else. Now, here is the list of celebrities recently executed for the murders they committed and received German masquerader support for their careers. German masqueraders are people of German ancestry living in white countries. Harry Belafonte was an American singer, actor, and a civil rights activist, a close confidant of Martin Luther King Jr. during the civil rights movement in the 1950s and 60s in the United States. He recorded his music and sang in many genres, including calypso, blues, folk, and gospel music. His calypso music became very popular with international audiences. He was also the first single artist whose breakthrough LP album, Calypso, released in 1956, sold 1 million copies. Belafonte won 3 Grammy Awards, an Emmy Award, a Tony Award, and the Kennedy Center Honors. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2022. He was put to death on April 25, 2023 at age 96 for the murder he committed probably in early 1960s. With his talent, surely Harry Belafonte would have found success in music and acting on his own. But German masqueraders who committed most of the atrocities on African Americans are so good at propaganda that they have found an incredible number of ways to blame it all on people of British descent and dupe all minorities into believing it and seeking revenge by clandestinely murdering them. They also had a very tight control over who would succeed in their entertainment or sports careers. Those who did not meet the hurdle qualification of murdering a white adult and or child of non-German ancestry were persuaded with graphically described threats to their life to give up their careers. Those who were not willing to do so were physically harmed or even put to death. Thousands like Harry Belafonte and Sidney Poitier, who took the easy route, are now paying for their crime with their lives in their old age. I would like to explain another issue from the point of view of God's purpose. In my ebook, God's Messages Delivered Through Angels, available free on my religion website www.churchofgodmessage.com, I wrote about one of the messages being about African Americans. I met 2 African Americans in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, who out of the blue commented to me that the God of the Bible has discriminated against Africans and blacks and cited their body color and hair as evidence. When I was thinking about the issue and wondering why God had seemingly not given blacks the beauty that whites and others have, God sent an angel to deliver the following message to me: God does not need to give account to anyone. I thought on the rebuke God had delivered to me from my thoughts. I have never accused God of any wrong, for he cannot do any wrong, meaning sin against his own law. So I had to find an explanation from God's point of view. I have shared my explanation in my ebook, but I want to elaborate a little further on it. We know that before the flood, non-white races originated in the line of Cain because of his and his descendants' ever-multiplying sins. They deified themselves as gods, built temples in their own honor, and demanded that all of humanity worship them. Even today, we know them in mythology as Zeus, Hercules, Apollo, Vulcan, Athena, or Minerva, Hera, Demeter, Kronos, and others. Their oppression and the cruelty they inflicted on the rest of humanity was horrendous. By the way, in Greek paintings and statues, these gods are shown as white, but in Egypt they are shown as black. The Greeks and Italians adopted the Egyptian pagan gods but changed them to look white instead of black. God describes the sins of Cain and Lamech's descendants in Genesis 6:2, 5, 11, and 12. That the sons of gods, that is the correct translation, the sons of gods, not the sons of God. These were who were deified descendants of Cain and Lamech, saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took the wives of all which they chose. They were forcibly taking scores of white or other women of the line of Seth and marrying interracially as it seemed fit to them. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. So there was a lot of bloodshed and gratuitous killing on whim. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. Now God started taking away beauty from the descendants of Cain and Lamech, because if God continued to give them beauty as they were marrying the most beautiful women, despite their corruption of all of humanity and their evils, all of humanity would have been convinced that Cain and Lamech's evil way works, and that living according to God's laws is a curse. In doing so, God was simply repeating his punishment. That means taking away the beauty from the descendants of Cain and Lamech. God was simply repeating his punishment on Satan and the demons for their sins. Satan was created one of the most beautiful beings God could create, as described in Ezekiel 28. But after his rebellion, he now looks like a red dragon, as revealed in Revelation 12 verses 3 and 9. Even after the flood, Cush, whose other name was Ethiopia, which means black, and his illegitimate black son Nimrod started corrupting humanity again and repeating the same activities as before the flood, and also deified themselves. Nimrod also introduced live infant and human sacrifices in his worship system. Because the black race propagated the same evils as before the flood, God did not bless them through Noah after the flood. Genesis 9:25-27 state, "And he, that is Noah, said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. And he said, Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant." The black race were descendants of Noah's son Ham. Only Canaan, the son of Ham, was cursed, and not Ham's other black sons. However, no descendant of Ham received any blessing, whereas descendants of Shem and Japheth were blessed. That is the reason the black race has not done well as well economically as the other races. They have continued with their loss of beauty and suffered, as the two African American men in Milwaukee complained to me. You have to understand God's purpose in these judgments. Remember, only a tiny portion of humanity was oppressing and brutalizing the rest of humanity. Now view things from God's perspective. Just as today, the cruelly oppressed in ancient times also cried out to God to deliver them from their oppression, and called him unfair and cruel for allowing it. He had to act to offer some protection to the rest of humanity. God did deal with the oppressors collectively by pronouncing no blessings on the black descendants of Ham after the flood, because of which they as a race deteriorated. Their oppression of other races ended, though they continue to oppress those of their own race. God's sole purpose in creating humanity is to ultimately make them fit for eternal life as his literal sons and daughters, and make sure that they never ever rebel against him as Satan and the demons did. All the experiences he has put human beings through were designed with that purpose in mind. Since twice in human history, ancestors of the black race have led rebellion against God, they have suffered for more than 4,600 years because of their beauty being taken away from them. Today, some Africans and African Americans would be counted as godly and righteous as any white person. Yet they continue to suffer because of their loss of beauty due to the sins of their ancestors. Ultimately, most of humanity will qualify to become God's literal sons and daughters. Such eternal sons of God will not be black or white or yellow or brown. They will all have a glorious, brilliant body like his son Jesus Christ, as mentioned in 1 John chapter 3 verse 2, which states, "Beloved, now we are children of God, and it has not yet been revealed what we shall be. But we know that when he is revealed, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is." Then the past of having been born black, white, yellow, or brown as human beings will be dim human history. The black race as a whole, having suffered the loss of beauty for hundreds of generations, will have learnt the lesson to not sin or rebel against God for eternity. They needed to learn the lesson more than anyone else because they led the rebellion against God both before and immediately after the flood. As eternal sons and daughters of God, they will have learned that sin or rebellion against God can have deadly consequences for future generations, for eternity into the future. Because of having suffered the terrible consequences of rebelling against God for hundreds of generations and having their beauty taken away from even their future generations, some of whom may individually have become righteous persons, they will never want to disobey God's laws. That is why the lesson will be indelibly imprinted in their minds as well as in the minds of all of humanity to never rebel against God. No African American or black person wants to be born black. God will thus have fulfilled his purpose for creating humanity. I hope black people don't think I'm beating up on them. I am simply trying to explain things from God's perspective so that all of us can learn from it. No one needs to feel weighed down by sins of one's ancestors more than 4,000 years ago. God holds each person responsible for his or her own conduct and not the conduct of ancestors. As I have explained before, I cannot be accused of racism because I am of mixed Jewish black ancestry from India, as are many African Americans and even many in North Africa who are racially mixed. And some Jews look like any African. Now the next celebrity, Leonard Gordon Goodman, who was an English professional ballroom dancer, dance teacher, and dance competition judge. He ran a ballroom dance school in England. He was the head judge on the UK television program Strictly Come Dancing from its inception in 2004 until 2016, in which celebrities competed for the Glitter Ball Trophy. Then he was one of the 3 judges on the US TV program Dancing with the Stars from 2005 until 2022 when he retired. The media reported that Len Goodman died of bone cancer in hospice on April 22, 2023, just 3 days before his 79th birthday. Actually, Goodman was executed for the murder he committed in his younger days to receive mass greater support for his dance career. Goodman claimed that he was of Jewish ancestry. He was a German masquerading as a Jew. Michael Lerner, a veteran character actor who was featured in films such as Barton Fink, for which he received an Oscar nomination, and Godzilla, Elf, and with more than 200 credits, died on April 8, 2023 at age 81. No further details about his death were provided. Michael Lerner was actually executed for murder committed in his younger days. Chuck Morris, 47, drummer for the electronic jam band Lotus, and his son Charlie, 20, went missing on March 16, 2023, while kayaking in Arkansas. The dead bodies of both of them were found on April 9, 2023. Their deaths were ruled a drowning. Chuck and Charlie Morris did not drown. They were put to death, probably for a murder committed by Chuck Morris more than a decade ago and one committed recently. That's why Charlie Morris, his son, was also executed. It's good that non-masquerader siders found a novel way to bring murderers to justice rather than have the police or doctors finish the job. Paul Catamole, a founding member of British pop group S Club 7 in 1998, which gained fame through hits like Bring It All Back, died on April 6, 2023. He was 46. The media reported no cause of death. Paul Catamole was executed for the murder he committed earlier in his music career. Lars Welander, the longtime guitarist for the Swedish band ABBA, who made strong contributions to the band's recorded music as well as live shows, died on April 7, 2023, reportedly of cancer. He was 70. Welander did not die of cancer. He was executed for the murder he committed. This is a message to all German masquerader murderers anywhere in the world. The world is doing its best to bring them to justice any way they can be found. Americans, the British, Australians, the French, Russians, Scandinavians, and others are executing them for the murders they committed decades ago. Ahmad Jamal, highly influential jazz pianist, composer, and band leader, whose music is described as transcending many genres, with a music career spanning over 7 decades from the age of 14, reportedly died of prostate cancer on April 16, 2023. He was 92. Jamal was born Frederick Russell Jones in Pittsburgh in 1930, but later converted to Islam. When Jamal achieved success in his professional career, it was almost impossible to do so without masquerader support, which he received after meeting the hurdle qualification of murder. He did not pass away from cancer. He was executed for that crime. The following actors have committed murder to receive masquerader support in their active careers but are still alive. Nicolas Kim Coppola, known professionally as Nicolas Cage, is a very successful American actor and a film producer. He was born into the Coppola family, well known in the film and entertainment industry. He is the winner of an Academy Award, a Screen Actors Guild Award, and a Golden Globe Award. His credits include over 200 films. He is 59. Ray Albert Romano, with the screen name Ray Romano, age 65, is an American stand-up comedian, actor, and screenwriter. He is best known for his TV role as Ray Barone on the CBS sitcom Everybody Loves Raymond, for which he received an Emmy Award. He has also been the voice of Manny in the Ice Age film series. Marlon Lamont Wayans, 50 years old, is an American actor, comedian, writer, and producer. He is best known for his work with his brother Sean Wayans on the WB sitcom The Wayans Brothers. He has appeared in many comedy films such as Scary Movie 2, White Chicks, Little Man, 50 Shades of Black, among others. Paul Edward Valentine Giamatti, age 55, is an American actor, comedian, film producer, and a podcaster. He is best known for leading roles in the films such as American Splendor, Sideways, and Barney's Version. He won a Golden Globe for Barney's Vision. His father was the late Bart Giamatti, who was briefly the baseball commissioner until his untimely death a few months later. Now, there have been other murderers executed. In Marion County, north of Orlando, Florida, three white victims, Layla Silvernail, 16 years old, Camille Qualls, 16 years old, and a 17-year-old unidentified white male, were killed on March 30, 2023 by three black youth, Robert Robinson, 17 years old, Taj Bruton, 16 years old, and Christopher Atkins, 12 years old. The three white teenagers were actually put to death for murder they committed. It's shocking how young people are being encouraged by masqueraders to commit murder. But the non-masquerader side has found a novel way to respond to the new challenge and execute such murderers without involving the police. That way, their families cannot be awarded millions of dollars in settlement. On April 15, 2023, at a Sweet 16 birthday party in the small town of Dadeville, Alabama, in a shooting, 4 people were killed and at least 16 other teens injured, and a total of 32 injured because of the panic. And at least 16 teens were shot, and a total of 32 injured because of the panic. The 4 dead victims were Corbin da Montre Holston, a 23-year-old male from Dadeville, Alabama; Marcia Emmanuel Collins, a 19-year-old male from Opelika, Alabama; Phil Stavius Dowdell, an 18-year-old male from Camp Hill, Alabama, and a senior at Dadeville High School; and Shankivia or Kiki Nicole Smith, a 17-year-old female, also a senior at Dadeville High School. Phil Stavius Dowdell was the brother of the teen celebrating her birthday, Alexi Dowdell. Kiki Smith was looking forward to attending the University of Alabama, her cousin Amy Jackson said. She was also a student athletic manager on the Dadeville High School track team, Coach Michael Taylor said. CNN reported a telling quote from Michael Taylor, who was also an assistant football coach. He said Dowdell asked him for poignant favor just weeks before he was killed. If anything ever happened to me, even when I go to college, take care of my 2 sisters. Why would an 18-year-old be worried about something happening to him unless he had committed a criminal act? Now, 6 people have been arrested for the shooting. Though no motive has been given by the authorities, my information is that those killed were criminals themselves who committed murder. They were executed for that crime. It's possible other murderers were present at that birthday party who escaped being killed. Again, the non-masquerader side has found another very effective way to execute murderers, to send a message that those who commit murder to get ahead in life with masquerader sport can now expect to have their lives brutally cut short before they can reap the rewards for their crime. The masquerader side controls some parts of the economy and uses it to reward murderers of innocent white people of non-German ancestry. In many cases, the rewards are merely employment at regular wages throughout life. In addition, they get discounted vacations and other discounts at retail establishments. Then, when the persons retire and start collecting Social Security, they still get part-time work, which does not require much effort, but provides $10,000 to $25,000 in annual income to supplement Social Security. Such murderers have not lived a luxurious life, but have lived a comfortable life. The non-masquerader side has learned some lessons from this. They too control large parts of the economy and can provide similar employment for life. It seems they have now started using people to kill murderers, such as the shooting of 3 white Tampa teens by 2 black teens and a 12-year-old, and the Dadeville, Alabama shooting. These killers or murderers can be rewarded with living wage employment for life and other benefits as masqueraders reward murderers of innocent people. By using this strategy, we don't have to use police to shoot murderers dead and then reward their families with tens of millions of dollars in compensation. Instead, those tens of millions of dollars per incident can be used to reward teens or other young persons and their families who perform the execution of the murderers. Just don't use the police any longer to bring murderers to justice. Non-masqueraders can turn the tables on the masquerader side by using the new strategy. Extraordinary circumstances call for extraordinary measures. By strictly following the law, through which masqueraders have always been able to drive fleets of trucks with all its delays, let's not hobble ourselves in meeting the deadly challenge still posed by the masqueraders. In using this strategy to bring murderers to swift justice so that they don't get to enjoy the rewards of their murders, I would not be too concerned about collateral damage. If we find that the parents have encouraged their sons and daughters to commit murder who have gone ahead and done so, I would not worry if the parents are killed as collateral damage. That's the way to root out any incentive for murdering innocent people. Also remember, the non-masquerader side does not murder innocent people. They merely bring the lives of murderers to a swift end. Now, American couple Carrie and Frank O'Brien, along with their mechanic friend William Gross, with combined 90 years of sailing experience between them, left on a sailing expedition on April 4, 2023 from Mazatlan on Mexico's Pacific coast to San Diego, California on their 44-foot fiberglass boat, ocean bound. They intended to arrive in Cabo San Lucas on April 6, 2023 to collect provisions, but they did not arrive there. The Coast Guard launched an exhaustive search for the missing boaters, but to no avail. The search has been ended since then, and the boaters presumed dead. The non-masquerader side again has found another novel way to execute the three murderers. Just another way to stop murderers from enjoying life after their crimes. 4 boaters went fishing on April 19, 2023 morning from Hampton in southern New Hampshire in a 17-foot boat, headed for the fishing grounds near Jeffrey's Ledge, which is about 50 miles from shore. On Thursday, the next day, the Coast Guard found the boat overturned off the Massachusetts coast and 3 of the boaters dead. The 3 dead men were identified as Jia Fu Zheng, 38, and Daxiao Len, 43, of Quincy, Massachusetts, and Jamie Liu, 42, of Litchfield, New Hampshire. The 4th man who remains missing is Ben Michael Kai. Search for the missing boater was suspended pending further information. Another novel way to execute the 4 murderers without involving the police or anyone else. Madeline Kingsbury, a 26-year-old mother of 2 young children, a 5-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son from Winona, Minnesota, has been missing since March 31, 2023. The city police chief, Tom Williams, called her disappearance suspicious and involuntary. Madeline was last seen around 9 a.m. on March 31st when she dropped her kids off at daycare with the children's father, but she didn't report to work or pick up the kids that afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Madeline's sister Megan reported that their family talks every day on a regular basis. When her mom, Deanna, neighbor, who talks to her every day, did not hear from Madeline, she contacted Megan. Then the family contacted all of Madeline's other family and friends who also had not heard from her. Extensive searches for many days have yielded no results. Searches by the authorities and volunteers still continue. The fact that her mother, sister, and others kept close contact with her daily shows they were always worried about her, knowing that she might one day have to pay for the murder she committed. That's why Madeline Kingsbury is missing. On March 18, 2023, 17-year-old Delanio Martin, a black teen, died after a shooting involving a U.S. Park police officer. NBC News report on the incident stated, police said in an initial statement that a Park police sergeant and an officer responded to a report of a stolen vehicle shortly before 9 a.m. March 18. While officers were attempting to detain the driver, the car fled from the scene with one USPP or U.S. Park police officer inside the car. A second officer, the USPP sergeant, was dragged by the fleeing car from outside the vehicle, police said. The USPP officer inside the car gave verbal commands for the driver to stop. After the driver did not comply, the USPP officer discharged their firearm. A male was pronounced dead on the scene. A firearm was recovered inside the police. Later, additional information was provided after videos of the police videos of the incident were released. In the explainer video, Park Police said Washington Metropolitan Police Department responded to a suspicious vehicle. The SUV was running and a driver was sleeping in it. Washington police learned the SUV was stolen, Park Police said. That's when Park Police assisted. One video shows officers from both departments strategizing ways to get into the vehicle without waking up the person in the driver's seat and putting themselves in danger that the vehicle could flee. A Washington police officer can be heard in the video talking to Park Police. Please don't get caught inside, the officer says in the clip, adding, don't get inside that car. One of the body camera videos shows an officer opening a rear driver's side door. Commands of police, don't move, are heard. Additional video shows an officer appearing to struggle with the driver, who then begins to accelerate with the officer in the back seat. Stop, man, just let me out, the officer says according to the video. Stop, or I'll shoot. The officer then shoots the driver multiple times from the back seat before a loud crashing noise is heard. The SUV plowed into a home after the shooting, Park Police said. Here are the red flags about the case. Martin had stolen an SUV. The family that owned the vehicle must have been traumatized and heavily inconvenienced for some days, with their lives temporarily turned upside down. Martin had a firearm in the vehicle. Apparently, Martin was well known to the DC police and knew him to be a dangerous criminal. That's why they warned the officers to not get into the car, as their lives would be in danger. Officers had no choice but to get into the car when they found the driver sleeping. There was a very high possibility of him crashing the vehicle, which could have possibly caused a catastrophic accident. And then when Martin found the police officer in the car, he accelerated, attempting to flee, dragging the second police officer with the vehicle. The officer asked Martin to stop and let him out. He then commanded Martin to stop or he would shoot. When Martin did not obey the commands, he was shot 6 times in the back. On seeing the police officer, Martin's first reaction was to flee, which to me says he had something to hide. The police also knew he was a dangerous criminal, and I can state here he was a murderer. That's why the police officer felt his life was likely in danger and shot Martin. Martin's mother, Tara Martin, said she wanted all officers involved in his death to be punished criminally. I want him arrested. I want him to stop getting paid while he murdered my son and is still home with his family. Justice needs to be served. She revealed Martin was a father too. When he had a son, it changed his life. She said he wanted to start doing things different. Apparently, Delanio Martin did not start doing things different. He continued with his criminal activities as he was found in a stolen SUV. Martin family attorney Andrew O'Clark said at a press conference, Delanio did not have to die. How long will they, that is the police, be able to hide behind their badge to justify taking a life? How long will we as a community have to continue to have the talk with our young black children because they are treated differently by police? From Clark's and Martin's mother's statement, one may think that Delanio Martin was some sort of an angel now. According to Clark, it seems in his book, it's okay for a black teen to steal and turn the lives of people upside down whose vehicle they've stolen, murder innocent people to be financially rewarded for life, continue to menace people, both black and white, with guns and criminal activities, endanger the lives of police officers and the public with accidents due to reckless actions. But the police have no right to shoot him. Attorney Clark should understand that Martin was treated as a criminal and a murderer and not as an innocent black teen. Any white teens or young men who menace society in similar ways are also being shot dead by police. In fact, one 20-year-old white prison escapee was recently shot dead by police. Police are shooting dead criminals and not innocent black young men. In killing Martin, the police killed a murderer and took him off the streets. But since this was a police-involved shooting, there will be a lawsuit, a possible multi-million-dollar settlement, so that Martin's mother and siblings and his own young child can live comfortably for the rest of their lives. That was the incentive for Martin to continue his criminal activities and remain a problem for law-abiding people and the police. My suggestion is that non-masqueraders' new strategy to provide incentives to teens to shoot dead young murderers should be pursued to the extent possible. That way we can avoid the families of the murderers becoming rich, and the incentive for murderers to enjoy the rewards for the murder they committed would end when they realize that they will be brought to justice very swiftly by paying for the crime with their lives. However, unfortunately, in cases like Martin's, sometimes the police have to deal with the criminal in the act of committing a crime. They have little choice. Remember, these murderers are killing innocent people, whereas the non-masquerader side would be providing incentives only for taking murderers off the streets. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please continue to watch my videos on important world events, World War III watch, politics, international business, how Bible prophecy is playing an important role in world affairs, advice on health and medical problems, and much more for in-depth and insightful analysis. Please also subscribe to my YouTube and Facebook channels, Unmasked Truth with Harmanjit Saini, to view and get information on the latest videos.